Jeff, did I hear you guys piping in some crowd noise today at practice?
Yeah, it's just, we know it's going to be crazy Saturday. So, yeah, we do that for those bigger games like that, just to try to help those kids, distractions, and try to get them ready.
It's a challenge for the defense, right? Getting the calls in and doing all that stuff.
For everybody.
Yeah.
It's just deafening. So it's like no other place I've ever played before. And obviously when we had 25,000, it was that way. But when it got to 43, it was on a whole nother level. Whatever you bring in that place times 2 is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So if you get 45, it sounds like 90, and if we could hit 50, it'd sound like 100.
Jeff, Brendan Brady was telling us yesterday that he's very used to being in kind of an underdog role through his years here. Is that kind of a useful thing for you as a coach to be able to tap into a feeling that they're very familiar with?
It's just kind of what this program's always been, because we're such a new program, and we haven't had a lot of success, to be quite honest with you. So, it's to be expected, but our kids, they rally around that. We hope there's a point one day where it's not that way that often, but right now we're still in that situation.
In the big picture with this game, what would it mean to be able to beat this team when you have the move to the AAC coming up, and you've mentioned kind of taking their place in the conference? Does that have any impact?
Well, they're just such a respected program, and the success they've had for so many years, and that's what we want for our city. We want to be somebody that people would consider to be in the Big 12 one day, and so it's a great opportunity for us. And we have a lot of respect. One, just for Coach Holgerson, he's been doing it so long and so successful at so many different spots, and then just the University of Houston in general. I mean, my wife's from Houston. There's a lot of contacts on our team from Houston, and they love their football, and our city loves football as well.
Eva, what are you expecting from your quarterback, Frank Harris? Is he ready to take another step? Is that fair to even ask him to do that?
Yeah, it'd be pretty hard to top, He's 4-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, 68%. He beat you with his feet as well. But Frank, that's, he's never satisfied. So I know that would be his goal, to raise it to another level. But the most important objective for him is to move the team down the field and get them in the end zone. He'll be the first to tell you stats don't matter.
I don't know that we talked about Eddie Lee at all this preseason. What's the assessment of how he's coming along and where he stands heading into the year?
Yeah, we're thrilled with him and Cam both. I mean, they both had great fall camps, great summers, and great springs. And we're excited about both those young kids. They both can run, they both can throw, and they both know the offense very well.
Was Eddie Lee dealing with an injury at some point? Did that impact his offseason at all?
Just a little mild something. It wasn't too bad. He was more precautionary than anything else.
It seems like this week there's been a lot of conversation within your fan base as well about the attendance and things like that. And what does it mean to you to see that so many of your supporters are passionate about trying to drive that and wanting to see a good environment there?
I've always said this, and I feel strongly about it. Your community always gets what it wants. The programs that are great, their community demands it, right? And because what happens when they're demanding things? Well, that means more boosters give, and because there's more people bought in. So it doesn't surprise me, because that's what this community wants. It's truly what they want. They want to be great. And wouldn't you much rather be at a place that's never satisfied than you would be at a place that's very complacent? I kind of like it. They're always pushing us. Just makes us keep getting better, and that's what this is.
Sounds like the $10 tickets is official. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I just heard that on the way up. They said the media was alerted about that, so be prepared for that question. So I'm prepared. That is true. $10 tickets. I would say get them before the game, just so there's not a line when you get there, and that's going to be awesome. And I still believe it's as big of the reasons we won the championship as anything. And whoever thought about turning those lights on in the fourth quarter in that Western Kentucky game when that momentum had gone against us, that was pretty timely. Whoever thought of that, much props.
You have another one of those events connecting with some of the students here in a little bit, right?
Going at 11, I'm their favorite person. So I'm giving out free food, man. When you're in college and you're handing out free pizza, you can make a lot of friends. So I'm excited to go take a bunch of selfies and hand out a bunch of pizza.
You see those lines get longer and longer through the year last season, or how did that play out?
You know, they were long before we ever started winning. I think it was just free pizza. I think we gave some tacos away, some donuts and some cookies. Whatever we gave away, they showed up and they ate it, and they had smiles on their faces. I'm sure the winning made it better, but I think free food was what put them over the top.
It wasn't always a guarantee that section was going to be pretty full, but we saw late last year there was a pretty good turnout there. How have you seen that support base grow?
You know, even early, I felt like it was that way. I really do. I felt like during the COVID, those were the kids that, you know, kind of got us over the hump, them and Sosa. And I've said that before. I kind of feel like I've got a special bond with them. I kind of know them all, it feels like. I know I don't know them all individually, but it seems like we've been doing this together for a long time. I remember early, I asked them when I was handing out pizza, like, what is it that y'all need the most? They said, we need shuttles from here to there. And I went and talked to Dr. Compost, and boom, we had shuttles. So we really tried to be their friend as well, because we need them. We need them to be there because they're young, right? They don't have to sit down. You know, people my age, we got to sit down and get a break every once in a while. Those guys can go all day.
I talked to Coach Luck last week when we met with the coordinators, and he mentioned that with Rob Wright gone, he's been kind of in front of the team more, kind of more that vocal kind of connection. How have you seen him handle that part of the role?
Well, that's part of the reason. You know, we've done co-coordinator with him and Coach Wright, so they just rotated, so it's 50-50. And now since Coach Lepp is calling that, he's just up there, you know, more because of he's the coordinator on that side of the ball. Jess has been fantastic. I mean, Jess is a soldier. He keeps his head down. He wants no credit. He just works his tail off. He's a tireless recruiter. He's an unbelievable husband, an unbelievable father, a great role model for our kids, a great friend, and a really good football coach. So the players love him, and I know he loves those players.
He said with this year's defense specifically that trying to eliminate some of the big passing plays has been a focus. What kind of progress have you seen in that regard?
You know, I'm not as worried about that as he is. I mean, I just don't like it when we just bust, right? And that's what we got to clean up. The MAs, we had a couple of those last year that led to some easy walk-offs, and those are the only things that really bother me. If a kid goes up and makes a play on us, we play a very aggressive style of football, so it's inviting that type of throw. So I can't have it both ways, right? Now I wish they knocked down every pass and intercept every one of them, but I put my corners in some bad spots at times. And as long as they're down there competing, they're never going to hear a word from me.
Talking to him about the game planning process a little bit, he said that a lot of times you'll come in that room and just pick up on something that a lot of people might not. Like, for example, with Southern Miss, it was that they were going to run the Wildcat, and it turned out to be that way. Have you always just kind of had that talent, or where does that come from with you to diagnose some of these things?
I'm just old. I mean, I've been coaching a long time, and I know a lot of coaches, so I know, you know, if I were them, what would I do? And I look at it from a bigger picture. I don't call the plays anymore. I mean, I give my opinions on a lot of things, and my guys are very respectful and do what I ask. But as far as if you were to ask anybody on my staff, do I call the kickoff or the punt or the defense or the offense, they would say no to all that. But I'm just in front a little more because I watch the whole games, and I try to see what that head coach is thinking as much as I possibly can. So that'd be the only thing I could say I contribute to the team.
You called it a gift, like it was magical. Some of these routes that you predict and things like that.
You know, they also tell me I speak things into existence, so shut up sometimes.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, y'all.
Yeah, appreciate it.